Yo, what's up, y'all? Here's another episode of Freedom Friday. And what's been on my mind this week has been basically, you know, the thought of starting over. Uh, what that means is there's sometimes a feeling that, you know, if we don't have our stuff together, right? There's this feeling of starting over, this feeling of the unknowns, what do I do, the lack of purpose, how we get to a certain point, where we're looking to get to that certain point. And I want to speak to that starting over in our 30s, right? And I'm pretty sure everybody can relate to this. I'm pretty sure everybody has gone through this. I've gone through this. Let me just give you a personal story about me is that, you know, my 30s was what I considered my prime years. And I felt like in my 20s, I felt like I was chasing the wrong thing. I was after the wrong things. I was after things that weren't very positive and conducive to um, me personally. But because of me in my 20s, I wasn't very focused. So in my 30s, I became a little bit focused, but at the same time, I felt like I became very like when I failed at something, right? When I wasn't successful at something, I lost jobs. I went into bankruptcy. You know what I mean? Failed relationships, right? That anxiety it put on me like was very. It was suicidal, you know, depression, all those things. And I can just imagine, you know, some people could say, "Oh, well, philosophical, you didn't go through anything." You know what I mean? That's nothing, right? And I would love to hear some of you guys' stories on what you can you relate to that. But for me, it was like being fired from a job, right? I never took the time to really took that refresh time or that relief time to be like, you know, I was so quick to chase the money. So when I got fired, I was like, man, I got to do what I got to do to get back to that point, right? Relationships, right? I never was a type of guy to want to be by myself, want to be alone, right? And that's probably what made me the go-getter. I really became in my 30s, right? But luckily for me, I feel like I had a good support system, professionally to really help me, kind of navigate professionally and personally to really navigate me through, making the right decisions. Because sometimes, man, I tell you right now, man, like in my 30s, man, still, kind of in my 30s. I'm not going to display my age, of course, but you know what I mean? It was tough. It was tough, man. It was rough as far as like, emotionally, physically, financially, I was really searching within myself to say, what is it that I really want? How is it that I want to get there? You know, am I really, is this a passion to where I'm just trying to get to it quick? Right. So for me, I want to say to you guys that anxiety, some of you guys are chasing, whatever that may be, financially, emotionally, physically, not wanting to be by yourself. Because, man, I can tell you I was there, right? I'll say one thing about for me, failed relationships, being fired from jobs, being broke, not having a lot of money, right? I really wish I did take that time to really, really reflect on some of the things I wanted to do. And some things I did take time, right? Um, and what I'm saying to you is that we don't want to take that break sometimes because it brings a reality to our life. It brings a certain, you ever heard the cliche like mirror to ourselves, and it shows the real us, right? And I'm here to tell you it's okay. It's okay to be able to look yourself in the mirror and internalize what's going on with me. And it could, and to me, at that time, it was a sign from God telling me to slow down, be patient. And there were other times where I wasn't as patient, and I can just imagine some of you guys feeling like you're not as patient. Everything's right now, everything's quick, everything's instant gratification. And that's something that I'm currently learning with this podcast, right? Why am I not getting the instant success that some other podcasters are getting? I feel our message. I feel my message. I feel, what we're speaking about is just as impactful and important to other podcasters, right? But it just doesn't work that way. Right? It's not instantaneous. It's not quick. It's not a quick fix, to success, right? When you get fired from a job, and when I was fired from a job, right, I was so quick to, I got to get to the money, right? I was trying to get to a point where I don't want to lose out on the things that the lifestyle I achieved for myself, when really, it's temporary. I didn't really look at myself to the point where it was like, who am I? At that point in my life, the money was describing who I was by the way I was spending my money, right? Who I was appeasing to, social media, who was I trying to be like, right? The failed relationships, man. I was at a point really down, and I can even attribute that to, my mom passing, at the time, me and my father not really having a great relationship, not really on great speaking terms, man. My grandmother passed. I felt like I was alone, man. And I can just imagine how some of you guys are feeling right now, trying to escape the void of not wanting to be by yourself. That sense of anxiety that you may be feeling, man, because I tell you right now, I was there. Depression, suicidal. You can tell by the way I was talking, by the way my music was. Even sometimes on this podcast, right? Even telling my story. So if you ever feel like you don't have yourself together on a physical level, financial level, emotional level, mental level, your relationship's not going the way you need it to go, your marriage is not going on the way that it needs to go, it's okay to take a step back and really reflect on what's going on in your aura, in your circle. Figure out who you are. Take a step back to really internalize, where am I going? Who am I right now? Because life does hit, life does happen. And don't take the anxiety as failure. Don't take it as everything, the world is against you, or you're failing at life itself, right? Take the time to really sit back, be patient, and that vision will come. And that's something that took me a long time to learn. And I just wanted to share that message with you guys. Free yourself, that the patience is, if patience is needed, the vision is coming. Free yourself. And I appreciate everybody that's listening right now. You know what I mean? I appreciate everybody that's supported us. But patience is a virtue. And that was one of the things my father taught me when I was growing up. And that stuck with me to life, till now. Right? But I never took it as, face value, or how important it is. Free yourself. All right? I'm Philosophical from the Let's Rock podcast. I'll see you guys next week. Peace, y'all.